Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm your host, Megaro31. With all the 640 games today, we have a nice 8 game slate instead of 11 or 12 game slate on a Friday. So excited about that. No weather concerns. Just a couple of promos for you. EPL is back starting today with a showdown, and then tomorrow with full slate of games this weekend. Charlie already has a video out for that, so be sure to check that out, and you can subscribe to the soccer channel. And if you go into the description of the video, the link is there for that. We have NFL special going on too, where we're covering the preseason. And if you sign up for 1 month, which is reduced price of $25, it will get you all the preseason and through week 4, so like October 1st. So we got that going on too. And we're bringing college sports back. So when that's up, that'll be on the site. We've got 2 NASCAR races this week, so if you just want to go in and $6 a day for a VIP pass, this is not a bad price at all to get all the sports. PGA going on this weekend, MLB, and WNBA is back also. So a lot of things covered for a low price of $6 a day, $25 a week. Very affordable pricing. So check out the description of the video and you'll see what our packages are. So on to today's baseball slate. First game, we have Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. I've seen Cooper Criswell. I've seen a couple other people for Boston. I don't know who it's going to be. I think it might be bullpen, mash, an opener, long reliever. Not touching any of them against Baltimore. Corbin Burns on the other side. His strikeouts are down, and it's not a great matchup against Baltimore. 86 degrees there, so it's gonna be hot. The wind's gonna be blowing out. It is more of a pitcher's park, but that does help hitting a little bit there. So, uh, I think you can play him. I prefer Schwallenbacher and Getty over him, but definitely in play there. Boston bats, I think will definitely be contrarian. Love the lefties as usual. Duran, Abreu, Devers, Yoshida. Here's where I go, and then throw in Reese Snyders or Wong, or wrap around with Hamilton. That works too. Sometimes he hits higher up in the order. So if he's hitting like second or so, and if it's like Duran, Hamilton, Abreu, Devers, Yoshida, with Wong in the middle there, then that's great too. Orioles, Hauser, Santander, Henderson, O'Hearn, should be great. Rushman's fallen down. The lineup hasn't hit as well recently, so it hasn't played as consistently. So I don't play him as much. I usually substitute like Holiday in if I'm going to five person stack there. Marlins and Mets, Rodney Munoz and Sean Manaea. Since when has Sean Manaea been like a top pitcher and like 8.7 and is like negative 225 favorite? Crazy. I know he was good and he kind of fell off for a couple of years, but I think he's back now. And it is the Marlins, but I think he's in play here. He's probably my fourth favorite one if you're paying up over 8,500, simply because the Marlins have been hitting recently. Bryant has been good, Berger's been good. So even though they kind of blew up the team in the trade deadline, there's still some potential here. So Munoz, I'm not touching. I know the Mets have been hot and cold recently, but I think that he's struggled enough that I don't even think he can hit 10 DK points, even at 6'6". I'm not touching him in this matchup here. And Minea, like I said, I think you can make a case for it. I like the other three people better, but I think that if you want to be a little contrarian or playing a GPP, I think it definitely works for you. Miami, I don't think they're a contrarian stack here. I think they're decent in the cheap level, and I'll definitely have some shares of them. Uh, I like Edwards is a great talent leading off here. A little expensive at 4.6, and Burger's price to get up there a bit too, but Bride at 31, Derek Hill at 29, and there's Rivera at 2.2 has been moving up in the lineup actually, and I believe he started with like Arizona, and he was a high prospect, and just everyday playing time could really do him well. So don't sleep on the Marlins. I think I'm slowly transitioning off the Angels everyday stack just because of like the positioning, like everybody's like outfielders, and it just doesn't work as much. And like really using the Marlins a lot in GPPs as cheap fill-ins, and it's been working. So I think maybe towards for the rest of the year, I might gravitate more towards playing them every single day. That they're on the slate. Mets on the other side, usual suspects, Lindor, Nemo, JD Martinez if I have to. Winker has been okay, Alonso. Uh, so again, probably not going to play them in cash, but I think I'll probably make a GPP stack of them. I don't know if I'll get to five. Maybe McNeil if he's batting six, and just skip like JD Martinez and just go like Lindor, Nemo, Winker, Alonso, McNeil. But we'll see how the lineup is when it comes out. Minnesota and Texas, decent matchup here, almost a pick 'em game at 4.25 runs each. Woods Richardson and Heaney, both pitchers have been okay during the point of the season. Both pitchers have had some struggles. Both offenses have been decent. Both offenses have struggled. So this is kind of one of those games where if you're playing them in GPP in a 20 max, then go every single way. Play Wood Richardson with the Minnesota stack in case they do well and go off on Heaney and are able to hold Texas, and then play the other side of it to play Heaney and play Texas. So, but I think Wood Richardson's makes a decent SP2 in cash if you want. I think he can do enough there. I know Texas has been um pretty good, and it's at home for them. So, but they haven't been like elite, and there have been days where they haven't been good. So, if you're trying to pay up and need a cheaper SP2, I think Wood Richardson could work for you tonight. Minnesota, it's against the lefties, so you're gonna have Margot leading off, who's really cheap. Royce Lewis, Santana's been good, both sides of the plate. Miranda, Jeffers has been really cold. Start off the season red hot, and then he's been they not the guy from Boston, so like he's been not getting everyday playing time, and maybe that's affecting him a little bit. Castro's been fine. The ghost of Kyle Farmer is there for 2.1, cast off from Cincinnati. Q was good a couple years ago, but I don't know if he's got much left in the tank there. Larnish might get in there if with Buxton out, they're gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do with the outfield situation with Buxton on the IL. Um, so hopefully he's okay, and hopefully they can get Carrera back, and they should have a decent team if they make the playoffs to maybe make a little bit of noise and be a kind of a sleeper. Texas on the other side here. Simeon's back to leading off. I liked him down a little bit more. I like when Smith was leading off, but I'm okay with it. I sometimes I put him stacked, sometimes leave him off. I'd prefer Seager Smith. Garcia's starting to hit it better again, moved up to the fourth spot again. Lau. Young has been okay since he came back, but I don't like him righty on righty yet. Langford. If you want to go wrap around with Heimer Traveris, I get it, but I don't know if I'm gonna get to five Texas. And they're more of a GPP for me than the cash stack. White Sox in Houston, Crochet and Aaron Getty. Crochet is a fade for me. He hasn't gone more than like four innings. Really, I think there's like a contract thing going on. He was mostly a reliever until this season. So I think they're kind of trying to keep his innings down here. Maybe it's fatigue, who knows? But the bottom line is that he's not as effective as he was earlier in the season. He's not going as deep in the games, and there's no way in heck that I'm playing 9.3 for him against the Astros. Aaron Getty has already faced the White Sox, had a masterful outing there, and I think that he'll probably be a top pitcher on the slate here and pretty chalky because it might be hard if you're trying to get some bats in to get up to Schwallenbach at 9.8K. 8.5K looks really good right there. So, I mean, if you do find a lineup and maybe use your SB2 with Schwallenbach, I get that. I'll probably try that, some builds on that. But for cash, I think he's going to be my SP1 there. So, White Sox contrarian stack. They have been annoying and pesky, kind of like Washington's last year, and putting up some runs. Like I just crossed off Nicky Lopez, but Roberts, Benintendi has had some a little bit of success recently. Vaughn, Sheets, and Vargas. I'd probably just stick like right within that range there if you need some like one-offs or a cheap garbage stack to throw with your main stack in a GPP. In Houston, I think some of the top stacks on the slate in GPP against Crochet. But if he continues to be in the same form he has recently, then maybe they move over from GPP into one of the top stacks. They're definitely number five. I like San Diego, Baltimore, the Dodgers, and the Mets over them, but I think that they're definitely in play. And they have some cheap pieces too, because like the top guys are starting to get up there in price again, almost like the Dodgers. Like if you're playing Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez, that's 5.4, 5.2, and 6K. But Diaz and Pena kind of offset a little bit at 4K, but DiZenzo is a decent prospect and at first base, and he's got the splits advantage here. At 2.9, that helps a little bit. Even like Myers has been good against lefties. McCormick, if you want to do a wraparound. So there's some cheap pieces at the bottom of this Houston stack that you can put with the three um, highly expensive guys at the top to definitely make it work for you in your lineups tonight. Guardians and Brewers, here's another kind of toss-up game here, four total for each of them. Gavin Williams and Savali. Williams, I think if you have to go in the cheap range, is okay. I don't hate him. They did add the Dodgers guy when I originally did this. He wasn't in Warbelski. He's at like 5'6'5", so I think that people will probably gravitate towards him against the Cardinals, versus Williams against the Milwaukee team that can hit and can put up runs on you. And so, but I think Williams, GPPs, if you land on there, then and you don't trust the unknown commodity in the Dodgers pitcher, then I think he's fine there. Savali, same thing, but I don't like him as much because Cleveland just doesn't strike out. They don't hit for a ton of power, but they just don't strike out. They walk a lot. They manufacture runs. It's a solid real life baseball team and not a really good matchup for any pitcher that goes up against them. Bat wise, I think Cleveland and the GPP probably stick to the lefties, and probably it's going to be lefty heavy on top with Juan. Brennan's hit up there recently. Alon's pretty cheap. Jose Ramirez and Naylor, who's been in fire recently. I think Jimenez had actually a home run yesterday too. So I skip over Fry and just probably play like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 if that's how the lineup goes. You can always throw a Bo Naylor in there too if you need a little bit more salary relief to make the stack work. And Milwaukee, Trank should lead off. Black's been really cheap at first base, 2.7. He hasn't done anything amazing, but he hasn't gotten zeros all the time. So I don't mind throwing him in the stack to keep it cheap. But like righty and righty, I don't know about Contreras and Adames. Cleveland has a decent bullpen too. So I just don't. There's probably gonna be a ton of righties in this lineup unless something really crazy comes out and they put like Mitchell batting like second with Train and Black, and maybe you can make a really cheap mini stack out of them. But other than that, I don't really, without Yelich in there as like the lefty bat, I don't really love them against right-handed hitting. I'd rather take them against lefties, I believe. But again, I think in if you're looking for cheap bats, I'd prefer Miami, St. Louis, or Minnesota. Um, Miami has a tough matchup against a decent pitcher. But I think if you want to mix some Brewers in, or if you need to take them as a one-off, then I think you're fine there. Dodgers and Cardinals, or Belitsky. I haven't seen a ton on him. It looks like he's stretched out. Looks like he's not going to be an opener. Looks like he probably. I'm trying to see if I can get a pitch count. 75 to 80. I mean, they just had a pitcher come up from AAA that was a young star and just blew his arm out, and now has to have Tommy John surgery. So I think they're probably conscious of that. And are they going to let him go that deep? Probably not. But it's a decent matchup against the Cardinals, and he is a top five prospect for them when it comes to pitching. So I think that he's somebody that you could consider. Mikolas on the other side is a no. Dodgers is third favorite stack here, and with Lux in the lineup and like Rojas, I wouldn't play like probably Kiermaier, but and Mikolas has been a little bit reverse splitsy. So if you want to throw like Hernandez, like Will Smith batting down the sixth position now that everybody's back isn't really ideal, and he's hot and cold too. So probably stick to Otani, Betts, Freeman if you can get to them, and then Lux is a nice salary relief there. It's hard to get a five-person stack and get decent pitching in this. But if maybe you can make it work, then that's fine. That's St. Louis on the other side. I don't mind them against us lefty unknown commodity. So Win, Contreras, Pham probably batting second, Arenado, Uh, Jordan Walker's back up and just kind of waiting for him to do something. Pages, the catcher, has had some success against left-handed pitching, and Scott is back up too, kind of quietly. I haven't had a video with him on it, but I mentioned it in our baseball chat. And the night that he came back, he had a home run. But he's been a guy that's like a Billy Hamilton, where not the greatest hitter at times, but if he gets on, like he could swipe like two or three bags. So just for two, if he gets one stolen base, that pays off his salary. So I'm fine using him as a punt in GPPs. Padres and Rockies and Coors, Waldron and Claude Trill. Waldron went out there and he had a really good outing against Colorado earlier in the season. We were wondering how the knuckleball would do out there with the air. Would it like take off and be hard to field, and kind of help with power? Would it like break the same way it normally does? Or well, actually knuckleballs do nothing, but would the pitch be as effective as it normally is outside of the elevation course field? And the answer was yes. He was fine. He had some strikeouts. He had a pretty clean game, so I think he's definitely in play in the medium range. Quantrill has had a decent season, but I'm not going to be touching him here. San Diego's starting to put it together, even though injuries and everything there. um I think they're probably the top stack on the slate here. They are priced up a little bit. They're not in the 6K range, but it's kind of hard to get. Even Merrill's up to like 5-1. He's been having success recently between Profar, Cronenworth, Machado, and Merrill. So I think you need to make some choices there, but I'm okay playing Xander. I never raise he's a real good real life baseball player, but for DFS purposes, he's more contact hitter, which I mean, maybe singles turn into doubles and triples here. I mean, he's not like a slow poke, so I think he's not like a jackrabbit either. But I think that he could potentially have. Mm, I think you can consider him more here. I'm not going to play him, but don't rule him out. But Higgy, love the catcher here. I wish he's against a lefty, but I think that he's somebody too. If you want to, I'd say a cheaper piece, but he's 4-4, so I don't know if I can even get to him tonight. But we'll see how the builds go. And then Colorado against Waldron. I think that in GPPs, if you want to take a stack, that's fine. Braves and Angels finishing off the slate. Schwellenbach is probably a top pitcher on the slate, but hard to get to if you're trying to get some of the expensive stacks in. Like I said, people are probably going to gravitate to Getty. If you get both of them in, wonderful. And find some bats you like and some value, then take the floor and pitching and cash. That's fine. If you can figure out some floor bats and not have to have some of the studs in, then good. That hopefully that works out for you. That's another way to go. That's great on an 8-game slate. There's different ways to success. So on the other side, I don't absolutely hate. I think he's okay in the mid range. 8-4 is little uh pricey, because I don't know if he's going to get the run support to get the win, especially in FanDuel, or the quality start. But the Braves, I mean, I think they're a little bit better with Harris back up here, like leading off, and but they really don't have a ton of left-handed power. They're better, obviously, when it's a lefty than a righty, but they're always a sleeping giant. They're always a team that I never get right. So I always throw a stack out each day just in case they go off. Like they did the other day when they put up like 12 runs or so out of nowhere, which was a good night. And that GPP kind of helped like some of the other chalk things that didn't go right. So always consider that. And Angels, like I said, I've been playing them, but I'm kind of almost getting off of them after like 5 years of like playing them off like longer than that. I think it's 2017. So about 7 years. I just the combination of their positions just really doesn't help me. And like Chanel's been fine, Neto, Ohoopy, but they don't play him enough. Ward, but like the rest of them, like I'm only playing Adele now against a lefty, and it just the the production has just kind of fallen off, I think, and the pricing's got up there. So the Marlins are quickly taking over them as my everyday. So I'll hang in there a little bit longer with them, but I don't think that they're going to be my everyday stack anymore unless something turns around with them. So let's look at some builds and get you on your way for your day. So, like I said, I'm going to take Eric Getty. I do want to try Higgy at catcher. I'm okay if you fade that. But then I think you have to make the decision. Do you want Cronenworth or Machado in your stack? It's hard to get both of them. like you're already looking like at like Williams, Savali, Warbreski, or Woods Richardson as your SP2 here. Uh, if you want to try to get like three of the 5K San Diego players in there. So Bogarts, I think, is great in the fifth spot and has been pretty solid recently at 4.8. And then Profar, I'm going to take as a definite, and then I'm going to have to choose between Corners or Machado. Maybe I can get both of them in, but some cheap pieces. Give me Win and Scott two against the rookie guy coming up from the Dodgers. Dodgers bullpen hasn't been outstanding either recently, so see where they're on the 14-day average. Actually, they're getting back into the best. There was a stretch where they were kind of like struggling a little bit. I think they had some injuries there too, but I think since St. Louis is a fine fill-in, like I said, the Marlins could potentially make some of those things work also. For GPP, Schwellenbach and then Waldron or Wobreski, whichever one you need for like salary wise. Going to punt catcher, probably put the cheapest guy in. I think the Marlins guy is like only 2K. There's another one for like 2-2 for like the White Sox, but give me Freeman, give me Betts, give me Otani, give me Vargas. I'm going to fill him with the White Sox, or just to be contrarian against Chalk Aaron Getty. And that's sometimes how you win tournaments is if they like get to them and put up some runs and are very low owned. Or like I said, you know, Marlins there or St. Louis, there's a lot of cheap Milwaukee has some cheap fill-in pieces, especially if they move some of the lefties to the top of the lineup. So I got for your fan questions from chat below. Hit me Mega Ruler 31 on Twitter/X. If these videos help us back, like, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends. So hope you had an amazing weekend. Good luck in your contests tonight, and I will see you for NASCAR this weekend, and I'll see you next week for baseball.